Hello, this is Ben Morgan, and this is the Modern Redneck. I'm just kind of returning home from my part-time job. It takes me all over, aside from my actual business, but
proceed 3 miles on the current road.
Windows and trim.
Okay, hello. You're joining me on the road, Ben Morgan, the Modern Redneck. I'm just returning home from Aiken, so I got a bit of a drive. So, y'all are gonna join me, I suppose. You can just kind of focus while you're driving. Really clear your head. Anyways, I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I really wanted to talk about the differences between the conflict in the Ukraine and the conflict in Israel right now. There's been a loss of a lot of people in both conflicts, no doubt about that. But there are differences, and I've been thinking this since day one. Anyways, really, we should never have sent money to the Ukraine. And there are a couple of reasons why. Under the Obama-Biden administration in 2014, Russia invaded parts of the Ukraine. Crimea, they annexed Crimea and the Donbass region. And I think they also invaded the European country of Georgia. Not to be confused with the state in which I live. But I could talk about Georgia for a while. The state, not the country. I don't really know too much about the country, to be honest. Okay. So some of the main differences with the Ukraine and Israel. Israel's been our ally since its inception in 1947. The Ukraine, they've never really been our ally. And in 2014, when Putin annexed Crimea, part of Ukraine, and the Donbass region, and I believe also invaded Georgia, the U.S. did nothing. Now, there is a bit of a historical context and cultural context of countries surrounding that. There are parts of the Ukraine that don't see themselves as Ukrainian. They're Russian speaking, and they actually view themselves as being Russian.
Turn left onto I-520 West.
So, you should be aware of that. That's one of the things about it. So it's not like everyone over there is against it. And I'm not for it. Let's just be clear. I'm not for Putin invading the Ukraine. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's a matter that really didn't concern us, that we shouldn't have stuck our noses in. sending billions and billions to a war that really they can't win. Have you seen some of the actual news on the state of the affairs of the Ukrainian war? It's not going good for the Ukrainians.
In 1/10 of a mile,
We're
continue driving
supposedly
straight onto
protecting
I-520 west.
the democracy in the Ukraine, and for
Continue
some
driving
reason,
straight
a
onto
lot of
I-520
politicians
west now.
care more about the Ukraine's border than our own, which is crazy. You know, we should really be worried about our own borders and our own citizens, and we're just not doing that. With all that money that we've sent to fight a war for a country that has never been our ally, that Putin has invaded before, and we really did nothing. And Biden, he was the vice president when that happened. You know, the Obama-Biden administration. And if you look at all the ties that Biden has to the Ukraine, as far as, you know, them bribing the heck out of him and Hunter, I mean, you can kind of see why he would care a lot about the Ukraine. He doesn't care because it's in America's best interest. What Russia is really concerned about is the encroachment of UN bases on Russia's borders. I mean, I get it. You don't want other countries putting up a ton of bases, their bases, around your country. I mean, it doesn't look good. It's not a good look. And, you know, the Minsk Accords that resulted, you know, from, you know, the dispute in 2014 with Russia and some areas in the Ukraine, and halt of aggressions and all that, pretty much was Putin drawing a red line. Okay, just understand, no more UN bases on Russia's border or near it. We don't like that. Now, Russia has technically been our ally for a while now. Why did we antagonize them? I mean, if you've seen one of my earlier videos about Hillary Clinton colluding with Russia to help sell the uranium rights in Utah, I mean, and then had the gall to antagonize the heck out of Russia during the whole 2016 election cycle and Trump's presidency, just calling Putin and Russia every name under the sun. It's crazy. Why were they antagonizing them? What could they possibly gain from that besides to try to slow down Trump? I mean, that's about it. And they did their darndest, and they lied as hard as they could. And they came up with every hoax possible. Anyways, back to Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so I would like you to note that during Trump's presidency, Russia didn't do anything. They didn't invade anywhere. Huh. If Trump and Putin were such buddies and in bed together, then why didn't he invade anywhere? Come on, use your critical thinking ability. That's what we need more of in this country. We need critical thinkers. And if there are any Democrats watching this video, look, Democrats, progressives, whatever you want to call them now, the far leftists, I mean, you guys have a hive mind. It's all lockstep. You rarely have members of the Democrat Senate or House voting in opposite directions. But notice, in the Republican House and Senate, some people will vote the opposite of their colleagues because they're critically thinking. I mean, they're thinking, and they're all critical thinkers, pretty much. A lot of them. Maybe not so much the establishment, but they argue amongst themselves because they like to come to a consensus, a solution. They like to hear each other out. They don't always have to agree with each other, and usually they're not punished from within the party for doing so. But a Democrat steps out of line and whoosh, something will happen. There'll be punitive measures from within the party. And whether that's through negative media coverage, DOJ, FBI, CIA, whatever, I mean, they'll be brought back in line or removed. Simple as that. Okay, so going back to Russia and Ukraine. Alright. So during Biden's presidency, after that terrible withdrawal from Afghanistan where they didn't go by Trump's plan and they just tried to pull everyone out at the same time, which was terrible and cost 13 Marine lives. Prayers with the family, obviously. Families of all those. But the world smelled weakness. And it was a strong smell. Gave countries pretty much free license to take advantage of the U.S. any way they could. Do whatever they wanted. And, well, Russia decided they're still building bases on our border, and they probably knew it, but biological research facilities in the Ukraine, U.S. biological research facilities. And now, is that weapons research? Officially, no. Could it be? Yes. But you also gotta think. I mean, considering what happened with the coronavirus in China in that laboratory in Wuhan, which we helped fund part of that. And they swept that under the rug as much as they could, but I mean, they probably feared something might come out of there. You never know. Could be a whole nother Wuhan. So, I mean, I don't blame them for that, but honestly, how are we protecting democracy in the Ukraine? They suspended elections. They don't have elections. It's not a democracy anymore. They lock up political opponents, dissidents, whatever you want to call them. They censor media that they don't like. It's not democracy anymore. If it was, they'd still be having elections. They wouldn't be doing all this. Why are we involved? And why did so many people change their Facebook profile pictures to Ukrainian flag colors? I mean, I've seen people do that with France and, you know, the Black Lives Matter thing and pretty much any cause, you know, in the news cycle, and I've never gone along with that. I don't see why I would need to change my Facebook profile photo. What that would do is an empty virtue signal. It's asinine, to say the least. It's just stupid. I mean, if you wanted to do something, I guess you could write a post or whatever. And if you want to include the Ukrainian flag or whatever cause it is this week, then yeah, you can do that. But I don't see the point. Okay, so we're funding a war that's not protecting democracy, that's getting a lot of Ukrainians killed, that we could be using on our own citizens and our own borders. Smells a little fishy. And they're still saying doing it for democracy. Well, don't make much sense to me. And they've never had a clear objective. There's never been a clear end objective. What does it look like to win? Never said that. And Biden just had the audacity to tell Benjamin Netanyahu we're about to transition over to
In 1.5 miles,
we're about to transition over to Israel, don't worry. Okay? So he had the audacity, the gall, the sheer stupidity, if you ask me, to ask Benjamin Netanyahu what's the end objective for your war with Gaza, with Hamas, really, wars with Hamas. I mean, simple. They want to eradicate Hamas. Okay? So, Hamas on October 7th committed unspeakable acts. Men, women, children still have hostages that they won't release. Still have hostages that they won't release. That's right. They won't say. They still have hostages they won't release. And they won't say how many are still alive and what's their names. So why should we give them a ceasefire? Hamas, they like using human shields. And the only way to show them that human shields don't work is exactly that way. To show them that human shields don't work. They hide their weapons in hospitals and schools, and I mean, just the worst way that you could imagine. I mean, it's terrible, y'all. Okay? It is awful what they're doing. It really is. It's a shame. But Israel's got to do it. I mean, they don't really have much of a choice. They said as soon as they get the chance, they would do another October 7th all over again. First chance they get. They want to eradicate not just Israel, but the whole Jewish race. Crazy, right? I mean, but you see on college campuses all these incidents of Jewish students' events getting not just protested but rioted, and you see some Jewish students just plain flat out get assaulted. So it's not good. Now, the Democrat Party, mainly the far left progressives, have been harboring this radical anti-Semitic faction for a long time now. They've been doing it for decades. So I am not surprised by it. I do worry about my Jewish buddies. In fact, I had one of my best friends from college. I have one of my best friends from college. He's half Jewish, half Chinese. He's Christian. Call them Messianic Jews. And he's a great guy. Definitely not prone to violence. One of the best people I've ever known. He was in Israel on October 7th. Shortly after, he signed up with the IDF. He's not only got his mom worried, but he's got me worried about him too. I'm sure he'll be fine. Gotta look after him. And for any of my friends watching this video, if you know his name, don't put it in the chat. Don't put it in the comments. So, why should we help Israel? Well, as I said earlier, they've been our allies since the inception of the modern Israel in 1947. They've been one of our closest allies in the Middle East. Pretty much, really the only one for a long time. So yes, when something like that happens, yeah, we should support them because they're our ally. They've helped us before. They represent our values. We actually have skin in the game. So yeah, do I think we should help Israel? Heck yeah. Should we help the Ukraine? No. I think that was a stupid move. I mean, we've never been closer to nuclear war than we are right now with this continual agonization of Russia. And the Democrats, they just want another war. They just want money in their pocket. They just want to print more money. They want to test out new weapons. When did the left become the pro-war party? Think about that. Everything has flipped. Again, if you liked or if you hated this video, like and subscribe. This is the Modern Redneck channel. I am Ben the Modern Redneck, and we keep you in the loop but off the radar. Y'all have a good one.